Okay, good evening. Correction, it's Aishama, it's a M, not a N. Okay, I'm not the historian here or the religious leader here or anything like that. I mentioned again, the young voice asking the question that a lot of young people, those around me who are not Christians and even some who are Christians that's coming up and reading other books, reading books and asking the question that need to ask. In the first presentation of the title, Christianity, 2,000 Years of Illusion on the African Mind, it was basically, the lecture was basically to put forward some questions to members of the Christian faith in terms of the validity and the realisticness of what it is that they believe. And because there are a lot of people out there who do believe in Christianity that take a lot of things that if you really sit down and think about it, it don't make any sense. It just plain and simple just don't make any sense based on logics, based on reason, based on scientific evidence and stuff like that have been brought forward since those times. What I'm doing here is basically I have some questions. Some of them were raised from the lecture before, and others are just some that I, based on being preparing myself for this, asking people who are around me who are Christians, Catholic, Methodist, different people. One of the questions start off is the whole issue of Satan and going to hell. Now, one of the basic ideas that are in Christianity that I've been hearing from going to an Anglican school is that there is Satan, the devil, Lucifer, that he is the person who is after your soul. Whatever you may perceive that soul to be, but that he is after your soul, which is why you have to do right. You're not supposed to kill, you're not supposed to rob, you're not supposed to commit adultery, you're not supposed to have sex before marriage, all of those things. All of those things come up, and if you do these things, Satan going to get your soul. There's also the fact that if you're not baptized and baptized before you die, you're going to go to hell. The question then is, this Satan thing, I need it to be explained. What exactly, who or what is this Satan person that is after you, that is going to send you into a bottomless pit with that you're going to get brimstone and fire going to be thrown down on you and hot coal going to be thrown in your mouth and all of these things, and people going to be, overseeing your torment for the rest of after you're dead, however long that's going to be. I'd also like to find out about the origins of Satan, of this being, Satan. I've been reading and I've been hearing that Satan was originally God, in the sense that they were considered by the ancients, as in the Jews that Christianity comes from, to be one person. This God, supreme head being that was there, he was considered to be the author of everything, both good and evil. Right? And I want to know where this Satan come out. See, if the Jews believed in one supreme being that was responsible for good and evil, how, since Christianity, this devil being come up, if it wasn't from some other, what they call pagan religions that were before? If it's not from then what were the real sources? Okay, the next question that I have pertains to the whole, the Genesis account of the beginnings of things. At different points in my life, I started to read the Bible because I saw that if you want to get the full gist of the whole thing, you need to read it from Genesis 1 to Revelation, what is it, 22 or 20-something? You need to read it from, read it cover to cover like any ordinary book. And one of the when you just start reading it, because you generally get to the first page first, where there are two different accounts of the beginnings of things. You have the first case where it's telling you that God created man in his own image. God made man in his own image. He created the man, male and female, he made the two of them. Right, that's one account of it. And then there's another part in it where it's telling you that the land was without void or something like that, and then he created man, and then he took the rib, the whole rib story. It's two different. It's two different accounts, and if you're saying that Adam was there, the first man, I'd like to explain how comes you have two different accounts of it. One where he created male and female at the same time, and another case where he created man first, and then took the rib of man and created the woman. Okay, that's three. All right, four now. The Jesus story. There is a lot of confusion in terms of who Jesus was, in terms of whether he was a real person. There is the argument to say that Jesus is the English version of the name Yeshua. And they're saying that this Jesus person was Yeshua ben Yosef. But the problem I kind of having with it is the fact that Yeshua is translated Joshua, based on the coming down of the words and language and development of language. Yeshua is Joshua. So what I'm asking is, if Yeshua is Joshua, and how you really get the whole Jesus thing, how this person, is he a real person? Is it that this Joshua was a different person and Jesus is a different person? Because from what I'm reading, it really conflicting, and I need some clarification on that. The birth part of the Jesus story, where it's saying that Jesus was born of a virgin, which was the Virgin Mary. Clarity in the sense that, what do you mean by a virgin? What exactly is it that you mean by a virgin? Because if you're reading from ancient text, the word virgin, it does not mean the same thing that it means now. Because our definitions of virgin is someone who has never had sexual intercourse. And reading in other books that are talking about the language of the times, virgin is defined as a young maiden. Now, according to some other sources that I've heard, that Mary was actually about like 15, somewhere in them young age there, why they classified her as a virgin, a young maiden. I would like that to be clarified about that whole virgin birth and this literalism that she was born of a virgin. Because I learned in bio class personally that a woman can actually have sex, and the physical thing that said that she's still a virgin, which is the hymen being broken, that you can have sex and your hymen is not broken. That there are some women who are actually born, their hymens bends instead of breaks. So she can have sex 5, 4, 10, 101 different times, and she still have that there. And if the baby come out, the hymen should be broken. Or is it that she was something like that? In which case, it wouldn't really be that much of a miracle, because, you have other women that are like that. The lifespan of Jesus, the Bible doesn't really tell you much about it. It tells you about when he was born, and even then there are a lot of little mysteries that cloud that part that's kind of not too clear, considering that you have in the different historians or supposed historians that are giving you the account of his life, they have contradictory stories. In terms of, it's not totally straight, because it's not straight. And then they tell you about the birth, okay. Then after that, they tell you when he's about 8, when he's going into the temple. And then after that, there's a big gap that you don't know where he was, you don't know what happened to him, you don't know what he could be doing anything. He could have been on a robbery spree, or like when them say in Jamaica, if a man missing is at a foreign dead house or prison. It don't make you know if it's foreign him did gone, or if it's prison him did gone for something, you don't know. So that I would like that to be clarified too. The story about his death, that too is that when you're reading it, it's kind of hard to understand exactly what happened. Again, because of the differences in the stories that are being told about his death, what happened in his death. I'd like that to be, kind of clear it up. How exactly did he die? Tell me, you say it's the Bible that you're using. Let me know from the Bible where exactly telling the exact, that is full, that you can corroborate everything that is in there. Because if them saying that is a Roman, them kill him, typical murder case, you have to, bring in evidence, and you have your witnesses, everything like that. And the witnesses and the accounts, they're not connecting. So if you're going to be trying Pilate and all of them people, you couldn't really do it because the evidence them mix up. It's like different stories. Like you have 4 different witnesses and they each telling a different story. Same thing with the resurrection. It's the same set of people telling you about the resurrection, and one person is saying that Mary Magdalene and some other man did come and angel moved for the stone. Then there was a big earthquake. That in itself, no other historian in the time don't tell you about any of these things that are supposed to be happening. Historians from that time, such as Josephus, which was a big historian, which he talked about everything that happened in and around that era during that time, and they don't mention these things and this big earthquake that was supposed to happen when the stone was moved. You don't hear nobody else talking about except in the Gospels. So just that plus the general resurrection to clarify, to give a detail about what happened, give a full coherent story about what happened. Okay, the Virgin Mary, again back to this lovely lady that you hear all kind of wonderful things about. People curse her, our own son denounce her and say, I have neither mother or father, that this lady, who is she? How she figure into this whole Christian thing. Because you hear at one point where they're saying that Mary, she can come between, like if you want to pray to God, you can go through her to get to God, right? And, that's one point of it. And then, so if she's a mother of God, saying that she's a mother of God, then how she figured? Was she there before God? Before him create everything? I mean, if she is the mother, right? Then why wasn't she there, like in the Trinity for one, and was she actually there before God? Because for a mother to bring forth a child, she should have to be there before. Okay, that. Okay, the other thing is something that was also brought up from the previous lecture, which I was told that today is when they're going to address the questions, so I'm going to put it again, so in case they forgot. The whole issue of the son story, the father and his son, with the whole image of the son, the S-U-N. Is it true to say that since this story of the son, this worshiping of the son, this son worshiping, and the whole story, the titles that were attributed to the S-U-N, that were transferred to the S-O-N, who was supposed to be Jesus Christ, are you willing to accept that this story was there before and that this Christianity thing is, coming from that? Because basically what it is that Christians are saying that they are the way, the truth, and the light. Jesus Christ is that, right? And by that, they say that he is the only singular, no possibility of anything else. If you do not baptize in Jesus Christ's name, you will not be saved from the fiery hell. So I needed to clarify about that. The fact that the possibility that it's coming from somewhere else, if you can accept that, because what it is that you need people to be able to have the information, expose the people to the information so they can to see it for themselves. If the preachers and the theologians, like they say, okay, the possibility is there, go and look for yourself and find it. The people do, because most people take these things literally, that Jesus Christ is the one, the only, the absolute way of having a happy life. You cannot be happy unless you're seeing Jesus Christ. The other issue I raised yesterday, and which was also raised in the lecture, was about Bible morals in the Bible, and the Bible models. Jehovah, David, Abraham. All of these people, the truth about, truth in the sense that coming from using the book that they are using, are giving credence to the Bible, saying that, okay, there is some historical truth in there, okay, fine. But based on these historical truths, it is saying that these people who Christians are looking up to, them worse than most of the people them that's in here sitting down, because the amount of people that them kill, I mean, you know, murders, the amount of people that kill, I mean, even God himself killed how much people just because his chosen people wanted some land, right? I mean, at the vast amount of land that is in this world, right? Because that was the only area that they knew about. Their God allegedly killed, made them kill all of these people just to get that land. Right? So, I mean, you know, to look at and to examine and show the people that, okay, yeah, the Bible might have some moral truths in there as far as you can put it, to say, all right, live good with your people. All right, fine. But to say that wholesale truth, as the gentleman had said, the moral code, your life guide, to use the Bible as a life guide. When you look on these people who they are looking up to say that they are models, it's kind of hard, as I was saying, to look up on them, be looking on all of these things that they have done. Because if I'm going to look up on these people, I'm going to start to come back on and start just shoot off anybody who piss me off. You know, it's as simple as that. That's what you're doing. If you're going to say, all right, look on it, read it for yourself, critically analyze the book, critically analyze what it is saying. Look within yourself to say if you believe these things to be truth, that you can really look on it and follow it, fine. If you look, I mean, instead of saying that this is what you're supposed to do, this is a straight and narrow path, you cannot follow any other path. If you don't go this way, you're doomed. You know, to look on that. The other part about this going to heaven, you know, the whole heaven thing, you know, because heaven really sounds like a nice place for the most part. Kind of sound boring, but yeah, for the most part they make it sound nice. Like, you'll never be hungry, you never be thirsty. Granted, you're going to be standing up there looking at all of the loved ones that you have in hell burning and getting spit on, and you're not gonna really bawl or nothing. You're not gonna really bawl or nothing because you're in heaven, so you can't really feel sad if you're in heaven. You understand? But apart from that, looking at it from that way, this whole baptism going to heaven, is it that I am not going to feel happy and have a nice life if I don't baptize in the name of Jesus Christ and accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior? Is it impossible for me to live good with nature, for me to live good with the people around me, for me to be comfortable with myself? Looking in the mirror, seeing myself, being comfortable with myself, being comfortable with the actions that I'm doing, knowing that I'm not infringing on anybody else's right to feel how they feel, to do what they want to do, as long as they're not infringing on me. Are you saying that if I don't get baptized, I can't feel that way? Right. Okay, giving credence to the Bible. Generally, when you're reading a history book, you usually read a book and you critically analyze it. Generally, usually read maybe 3 or 4, because I did history up to the A-level stage. And when you're doing history, you usually have like for West Indian history, you have like maybe about 4 different books that you're supposed to buy. You're supposed to buy these 4 big expensive books, plus you're supposed to go to the library and do research otherwise, right? But you basically supposed to read it. You generally look on who is writing it as well. In history and in language and literature, you're supposed to look at who is writing it, what are the conditions under which these people were writing this book, what were the influences that these people were, what kind of, what mindset. As best you can, even though most of these people aren't living anymore because these events occurred way ages back, but you try to find other books that give you an insight as to the time in which that person was living in, so you have an idea what these persons were thinking. And then you say, okay, this person was thinking that, and they were under so much oppression, and this is what was happening to them, so they wrote this book giving an account of what they were going through. I was told that there are 3 sides to every story. There's A side, B side, and there's a truth, right? Getting the truth, you have to find out A side, you have to find out B side, and then if possible, you find a neutral side, somebody who was not involved in what it is that you're studying, the time period that you're studying, somebody who was in there but was not of there, right? If you can't, well, you look on A side and B side and critically analyze what was happening, see the accounts of it. As it stands, the Bible was written by one set of people, right? And most Christians are using only that. You know, there are people's sharp criticisms of Pharaoh. You're only hearing from the side of the people who were in captive. You're not hearing from the people. You don't have, I mean, it's only recently you're getting to find out the side of what was happening during that time in that country, what the people were going through, what the people believed. So I think that also needs to be looked at, the fact that there are so many differences. The fact that there are so many differences in the whole story in itself, looking at it at itself as one person's history, one set of people's history, but different people coming in and telling the story and not being able to corroborate their stories. Okay, there's one last thing that I have to say because my time is up. The whole thing about prophecies and prophecies that they said were supposed to come true. The fact that if you read the Bible, there are prophecies that they have in there that they say, okay, Jesus Christ came and fulfilled these prophecies. Right? But when you read it in terms of what the Messiah was supposed to be, the type of person that Jesus is described as being, there's no, I mean, based on what a Messiah was supposed to be, Jesus Christ couldn't have been a Messiah in the sense of what they were talking about, because he was supposed to be a prince, a ruler, somebody who was strong, who was going to overpower the Romans. And based on the book that they are using, Jesus was a nice, like a soft-spoken man that, you know, just go around and make people know what he have to say. And you know, that was Jesus. He never, the image of a Messiah was not fulfilled by that. And the other prophecies that are in there that were said that he fulfilled, that were not even in the Old Testament. Because there are some prophecies that he was said to have fulfilled, that if you look in the Old Testament, they're not found. So that is also something that I would like to be clarified. Thank you.